YouTube channel. If you are a new viewer, please don't forget to hit the subscribing button, because if you're not a weirdo, what are you? Purr. So welcome to today's video. Today I decided to make it's not really a storytelling to say, but I'm making a video about how I dealt with my grief. So yeah, I lost my mom, so let's get into it. So I did just a structure kind of thing, not that I will be ready, just a structure kind of thing, so I keep myself on track. So yeah, so I lost my mom in 2019 May the 10th. So and my birthday is the 17th of May, right? So yeah, how was it to lose a mother? How was the experience? How was my first day? That's what I'm looking into right now. So I was just in the kitchen. My sister was in a shower, and about 15 minutes ago we have already spoke to my mom. I knew this woman was fine. She had nothing going on. She was not having any issues. So yeah, and then I spoke to my mom, and she was just checking up on me. How am I? Did I prepare my sister enough for school, because she was going back to the hostel and to Shuarongo. So yeah, and then just 15 minutes or tops after that, the group of ladies came to our house. My mom, big sisters, our neighbors. We call them the mothers of the street. So yeah, they were all there, and they're like, what should I say in English? Mom shuatohokusha. Oh yeah, vikenda shuna shimatumu omoduye ya uji okusha matuhango kumukutisa urokumuya viparamusha mamamu ukauvera vera no hotoho. Yeah, I'm like, what are you guys getting at? It's like your mom just fell down while she was in her room. She was in a hospital, but she just went for checkup. She wasn't like sick or something. So yeah, I know your mom, she was in the room on the bed, and then she just fell down. So I'm like, what? Are you guys joking? I just spoke with my mom about 15 minutes ago. So my sister started crying, of course. I was like in disbelief. I was just in denial. I started jumping around, like I was on a bed, jumping on my mom's bed, saying, no, it's not possible. It can't be. I just spoke with her, and I was just crying and crying. No, I wasn't crying, I'm lying. I was just screaming, like, it's not possible, it's not possible. I didn't cry at all. I was just screaming. And then it's like I went mad or something. I started running around the street, like screaming, running around, and before I knew it, I collapsed. So they took me to hospital. Like I had a mental shock kind of thing. So for the first few days of my mom's funeral, I was in a hospital while people were at the funeral gathering. Yeah. So I was in the hospital, crying and soaping it all in. But yeah, so I got out of the hospital. I went to join my sister at the village. We were there. So that's how the first day was. So yeah, let me end there before I go out of too much details and stuff. And next, I wanted to look at the funeral itself. So funeral went by, and then my mom was being buried on a Saturday, and I think my birthday was on the Friday. So on the Saturday morning, we're like at the funeral, at those morning gathering where people have the ceremony, the burial ceremony before you could bury someone. So yeah, at the ceremony, people started giving speeches, and my elder brother, shout out for him, for getting me my 21st birthday gift. He bought me a key, right? He bought me a 21st birthday key. So, you know, at the funeral in the morning and Saturday before burial, at the speeches, he stood up and then he gave a speech that, no, now you are the mother, since you are the oldest girl in the family, over in our kukuta, you know, and give me the key, make me stood up in that whole crowd and just give me the key, you know. So yeah, that's how my 21st birthday was. That's how I celebrated my 21st birthday. I didn't have a party, I had that. So yeah. So next, I have to talk about a bit of how I went through it. Yo, losing a mom is not easy, first of all. So I didn't take it really well, get go from the first day, because I went met, obviously, my first day. After the burial, everyone was gone. It was just me, because it was just me and my mom living in our house, me and my mom and my niece. So when she was gone, it was just me left in that whole house. It was just me and my niece, and you have to look in those walls every single day, waking up knowing that she's not gonna be there. So it wasn't easy. I couldn't deal with it properly, and the fact that everyone expected me to be so strong for my siblings because I'm the eldest girl is the same. So it's the next morning. I didn't get to finish filming last night because my phone died, unfortunately. So yeah, let's dig in. How did I go through? Yeah, okay. So yesterday I was using the phone, but now I'm using some type thingy to keep me on track. So how did I go through it? How did I go through it? How did I go through my grief after the burial and everything was gone? It was just me left. It wasn't easy, for sure. It wasn't easy. I had to come back home to stay in the house that I was staying with my mom. Alone with my niece, to say. So it wasn't easy. You would wake up every morning and you'd be like, yo, if she was here, she'll be doing this and this. So it was so lonely in that house. I think that is what really got me more depressed. That is what caused my depression. It started there. That's when it started kicking in. Become heavier and there was no one to talk to. It was just you come back from work, you go in your room, you cry your lungs out. You go in her room because we left everything as it was. We didn't remove anything from my mom's room. So it was just like that. Beside what Odombanda, ne, but other than that, everything was left as it is for my father. So it was tough. I would come in her room, I would cry. And at times, you even have to be so strong for my niece as well. We wouldn't want every time the child to see you crying. So, yeah. And then that's when my depression started. It was so hard to accept it. And then I got a tattoo. A month after, so got a tattoo. I got into a new relationship, hoping to fill that hole in my heart of replacing, like, I don't know, I was like replacing that hole with somebody else, you know. And that person didn't even appreciate it. The person didn't even care about how I felt or what I was going through. So it was so rough, you know. It was rough. It was a very rough, toxic relationship. I don't want to go back there. But yeah. And then I started with suicidal thoughts every day. I was on a mission to commit suicide. It was not easy. It was not easy. Every day I was on a mission to commit suicide, or hanging myself and stuff. And then one day, my colleague, I was just crying. I called my colleague, shout out to Fabiola Scavenger for being there, for being my go-to person through that whole process of grieving. Girl, you put up with me. Like, I cried throughout the process. I called you many nights, late nights, in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., just calling you. Thank you, Fabi, for just being there, girl, and for always being here, supportive as usual. My it can never be enough to understand, so shout out to her. And then one day I called her, I was crying. It was maybe around 4-ish there in the Mapeta. And then I called her, I was crying, it's like, I'm done with life and And then yeah, after I was done talking to her, I went in my mom's room, actually. Yeah, Ndoroko. You guys know Ndoroko. Ndoroko Mgwetu. That is what I was just saying. Put on Ndoroko now, ani komutute mana. Shitoka shape okawani, you know. Shimeutukusha haka mbili hake uri. It's for her to knock. I'm like, who's knocking? In my mind, I'm like, who's knocking? Who's disturbing my mission? When I went to open, it was Fabi. I'm like, Fabi, what are you doing here? No, I came, you were crying. And then when she's like, what are you doing? What are you busy planning to do? And when she saw, I'm like, child, why do you want to commit suicide? And she's a softie like me, and she started crying. It's like, no, let's go. Let me take you out of this house. And then we went to her house. I went to stay there for 2 days or so. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I dealt with that is how I went through the process. And I went to varsity the next year. It was 2020. Things was rough. Was missing my mom. Cool rough now. Was mission of suicide continued, trying to jump out of cars, cars, and stuff. And I cut my hair. And then, man, I realized that I needed help. And I spoke to my sister-in-law, who was also my go-to person. She put up with me like big time. Yo, sister-in-law, she was married to my brother, which my brother passed away in the same year. My mom passed away. So I was just grieving a lot. I was grieving my mom, I was grieving my brother. So it was cool rough. So yeah, and then I told her, no man, this is what I've been doing, this is how I've been surviving. I've been like on suicide missions. I just every time I'm just every time on suicide mission. So, and she was like, okay, fine, we'll see what we can do. Maybe we should chat to social worker. But I didn't take it serious until one day, I fainted. And then when I went to a doctor, they were like, no, it's depression, you're going through a lot and all that, so we'll refer you to a social worker. Started seeing a social worker, and my sister-in-law, she then made sure like every single day, every single session I attend, she would drop me and Katutura hospital, pick me up for after therapy. So that is what happened. But either way, so that whole process of therapy, man, like, this thing don't really help unless you want to be helped. So I didn't really take it serious as well. It's like I always had this excuse I'm doing for somebody else, like either for my sister or who I was just, it wasn't like I was doing it for me to say. But until one day I was in a car accident. Within that, in July 2020 as well, in July, I was in a car accident. We've all been through a lot. That year was just not my year. 2019 and 2020, it was not my year. So June 2020, I was in a car accident. I almost lost my life. I got flipped in a car as well. I got flipped in a car, and I was in a car accident. They rushed me to the hospital. Because when they wait to on the road to Oshashingenge, our village, right? So they rush us to or Kakara Hospital. I stayed there maybe for a few days. It rushed me to Windhoek. I was in Windhoek. And it was not easy in that hospital. Like, I saw death. It flashed in my eyes. I was not good at all. I was like vomiting. I had severe headache. I had arm pains, which it was still going on. So yeah, that's when I realized, yo, kamunyoka wakaisa. That's when I realized that, okay, you shouldn't play with your life. I was like, no, man, I do want to live after all. So I'm like, I want to live. That's when I was like on a mission. I'm taking my therapy serious. I started taking therapy serious. I started listening to this other song, One Day at a Time. It's like, one day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking from you. This is other song. I'll put it down below, the link down below. So if you are going through depression or something, that song, it's your go-to song. It will be your go-to song. Trust me, One Day at a Time, sweet Jesus. That is your song, the go-to song. That song will help you deal with depression big time. So yeah, I started going to therapy. At the same time, I was in this shady relationship that didn't appreciate what I was going through. So it was quite rough, but then therapy helped me understand, love myself, bring back myself to the normal me. Yeah. And then that's how I dealt with it. So yeah. And that's it. That was my journey of grief and depression. And so what next? According to this, I'm supposed to give you the tips now. So what are tips if I were to tell someone going through depression, because someone going through loss of parent, child, either daughter, son, or his spouse, because grief, we don't only grieve parents, ne? We grieve everyone. It doesn't matter, as long as you are grieving for your lost one. I will give you the tips on how to go through Mara. What I can tell you guys, that word. Kamanyando, my dear, your mother is your mother. So I would advise you out there, take your mother serious, my dear. Yanjuru thero kunyoko. Kakuna nyoko warwe mlante. Iho mape opewa iho warwe. So it doesn't matter if she's bad or she's what, nyoko, period. That's it. So yeah, so tips on how to deal with grief. Firstly, learn to talk out. That is what helped me a lot. I spoke out my feelings. Every time I wasn't feeling well, I'll hook up Chappy. And I'll be like, Fabi, brah, I'm going through this. I'm crying. And that was my go-to person. Shout out to you as well. Again, Fabi. So you should talk out your emotions. Why am I getting emotional now? I'm done almost talking the word. So you should speak out your emotion. Always speak out your emotion. Find that one person you can just go to. Listen to music to take out, but sometimes music, sometimes your music doesn't even do the justice. Sometimes, guys, when you are listening to music, instead of easing you start getting emotional. So just find something good to listen to do. Either listen to music, go for jogging or whatsoever, just to take out off your mind from what you're going through. Always, when you're in a situation, always think of how would your mom want you to be doing right now, or your father, or your sibling. How would they want you to be living this life? How would they want you to be living this life? Do they want you to be suffering like this, or they would want to see you happy? Keep in mind, always think about that, right? And then always remember the good times. Stick to the good times, the good memories. Like what I do, I just go like men and Dakuni, my mom is here, we could be doing this, and then I would be like smiling, if my mom was here, I would be going through this and this. And it's so sad that at times, like, you don't know who to talk to, or that emotion you are feeling, you can only be like, if my person was here, if my mom was here, I would be sharing these type of things, the good things that are happening. Oh, I made walk. I can't do this. The good things that are happening, So just try to remember those people, cherish them, like keep the good things as well, and take your time. Grieving, you have to take your time. We don't all grieve the same. Neither am I saying these tips will help you as well. Maybe you grieve different, but most importantly, take your time. But there's no time limit to grieving. Like, everyone grieves differently. Some grieve shortly, some grieve forever. Like, I grieve forever. Till today, I'm still grieving. I still cry. I can just wake up today, I'm crying. I want my mom, period. So we all grieve differently. Yeah, so take your time. We all grieve differently. Take your time to heal. Please take your time to heal. We all grieve differently. And so yeah, thank you so much for being through this video with me. And yeah, see you in our next video. Don't forget to give a like thumb. Please like thumb. I don't know, you guys are viewing, but you are not giving a like thumb. So, and comment, leave a comment down below. So yeah, thank you so much. I've never really spoke out about this, really, so it's such a relief, and I think I did good, right? So yeah, what else? Bye guys.